We are standing in solidarity, of course, with our friends of the Living Legends Foundation. They released a list of honorees. These honorees are amazing women in entertainment. I mean, doing incredible things today, and we got to celebrate them. One being Miss Louise West. How are you?
I'm fine.
It's so great to speak to you today. My first question is, why did you go in the entertainment space of law? Why that part?
I don't know. I think it kind of found me. As a law student, I was worked as a copyright examiner in the U.S. Copyright Office here in D.C., and that kind of sparked my interest. And then my first job was with a law firm in New York. I found myself with, a lot of music clients. Um, and I had a friend who was head of jazz studies at Howard University. And I designed a class called Music. It was a basic copyright class for all of the jazz studies majors. And once I returned to Washington, a couple of years later, I wound up teaching the class at Howard
Wow.
and meeting a lot of just very incredible artists like Angela Winbush, Richard Smallwood. So it was very interesting.
Now, did you see a need that you could bring in entertainment law? Was there a need that you was like, okay, y'all, somebody's not talking about this. Somebody's not doing enough research in this particular space. So did you see that at all?
I did. I did. I knew that there were not enough Black attorneys. Actually, I was in law school with David Franklin, and uh, we took a class together, and he said, "Well, what are you going to do when you graduate?" I said, "Oh, I don't know. I'm thinking about entertainment law." And he laughed. He was like, "Oh my goodness, what the heck is that?" He said, "I'm going into banking." And he graduated, I graduated. A couple of years later, he called me and he said, "Guess what? I represent Donny Hathaway and Roberta
Hmm.
Flack."
He found himself in it himself.
Yes, yes.
Well,
And
that's
he went
amazing.
on to represent Richard Pryor and
Wow.
Miles Davis and several other, very prominent clients.
Now that's something right there that I know had to bring a lot of what's it called, feedback, and a lot of learning that you had to get from these amazing people. What is a common mistake you've noticed when it comes to artists and the creatives that they make at times, and you're like, why does everybody keep making this one mistake?
You know, my mother was a teacher, and I used to go with her to her classes. And I think just basically, I am a teacher more than anything else. And with all of my clients, um, I always make it a point to tell them, okay, you're in the music, that's one part, and business is the other part.
Hmm.
And unless you learn the basics, you're not going to be successful. And I think two of my best students was Timberland and Missy Elliott. Um, they were uh, signed to a production company, And I told them, I said, well, while you're signed to that production company, you're going to read all these books. And they were very, very diligent about reading the books. And I would call them and we'd go from chapter to chapter.
Oh, wow.
And I think their learning the business helped in their success.
That makes sense. I mean, they are both prominent people in the industry that still today just do iconic things. I want to know, you said that you gave them a bunch of books, but what is one book that you can point out and say, hey, as an artist, as a creative, if you don't have this book, you're missing out on something?
All you need to know about the music business is probably one of the best, and it's been revised every few years. So that's very important.
Okay. And also, I got to ask you advice. You know, getting into this space, entertainment space, people kind of get nervous, especially with today's music industry. What's your advice when it comes to people that want to get into the law space, entertainment, and that?
Just learn the business and um, look for various and sundry internships because internships help you create a network of people who will recommend you for jobs.
And is there any fear that you can have? People kind of get nervous when it comes to the entertainment space. How do you get away from the fear?
I don't know what the fear is. I mean, it's an industry like every other industry. Um, you know, there are scandals, as we know, uh, but those kinds of scandals basically come from people's individual character.
Mm, that makes
And I
sense.
think you have to be a good judge of character as you navigate business or the world.
Yes, ma'am. You're absolutely right. Now, I gotta ask you, of course, too. You always seem to be about helping the culture, building a bridge, lending a hand. That seems to be something very important to you. Why is it so important to educate, to teach, to lend a hand versus say, "Hey, I'm for self," or only for self?
I had a assistant once that we hired in the office, and one day she came to me and she said, "I don't like this job." So I said to her, I said, "Well, thanks for telling me, but don't quit. I'll
Mm.
help you get a job. And guess what? You'll have to help me find your replacement." And that's exactly what happened. I sent her out on a few interviews and that she didn't get. And then a prominent guy came by the office one day and I said to him, I said, "Oh, meet blah, blah, blah. She's an expert on sample clearance." And he looked at her and said, "Oh, hi." He goes around the corner and called her and said, "I want to hire you immediately."
Oh,
And
wow.
she got the job and she was actually at that company until she was one of the last executives to leave.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
That's incredible. Now, all the people that you worked with, is anybody that you worked with that actually taught you something? You know so much
Oh,
and you
you learn a lot from listening to your clients.
mm,
Um, I think, I think about Missy Elliott, just listening to her she had an offer from a major record label, and she said, "I want to produce 2 or 3 songs." And so as I was closing the deal, I said, "Oh, and can she be pre-approved for 3 songs on the record?" And the executive said, "Oh, she's not a producer." And Missy turned down the deal.
Oh yeah.
She actually turned down 3 major label deals until she got the deal that she wanted. And that happened to be at Elektra. But that's
Wow.
listening to your clients and not just looking for deals, you know?
Yeah, and a lot of artists, I don't know, they seem to be money hungry and don't think about the contract or think about the fullness of what you're signing. And so it's interesting to me that she was like, you know what, three, I don't care what it is. I know what I'm looking for, and this is not it.
Correct. But that really comes from listening to your clients and believing that they know what they want.
Mm. Well, the years of knowledge that you have and the much that you do in this industry, how do you, when you look back at your journey, I don't know if you've done this, look back at it, how would you describe your journey? How would you describe the foot that you've marked and made in this industry? How would you describe it?
Kind of staying independent and having my own firm and being able to hire who I wanted to hire and um, developing at my own, my firm at my own pace and staying independent.
Is that the best thing to do to stay independent?
Um, if that suits your personality, there are
Mm.
certain people that thrive in big organizations. I never thought of myself as someone to be in a big organization, so I just kind of had my own little thing and worked it and developed it. And I've been lucky to have incredible clients and to find incredible lawyers to work with me.
I mean, I think that it's just incredible to be able to not just find people that are working with you, but also for you to find yourself in this. You didn't quit, you didn't give up. I know there was probably moments where you wanted to, but you stuck it right on through, and you've built such a name and such a legacy that people are just astounded by. I mean, I looked at your history and I'm just like, I wish, I wish, I wish. Now that you're about to be honored by the Living Legends Foundation, how does that feel being an honoree, and how do you feel about that?
I don't know. I'm still trying to process it.
You're still trying to process it.
The Living Legends Foundation is a great organization. It's been around. Uh, it has developed such a great reputation. So I am extremely honored that they are going to recognize me.
You deserve it. You deserve it, and I hope you know that. You definitely deserve it, and we thank you for the tutelage. We thank you for who you are, and, again, I just appreciate you for your time. Y'all, please make sure that you give Miss Louise West all the love and flowers that she deserves, because when I tell you she's the business, and she also develops and helps build the culture, builds out these artists and make sure they know what they doing, because it don't seem like these artists know what they doing nowadays. So Miss Louise West, we give you your flowers and we thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.